Harmonics, and I want to welcome you again to the Profitable Farmer. And for those of you guys who don't know, we've been launching a pretty massive campaign to farmers in the United States for an R&D tax credit. Okay, now the reason why we've been very persistent in our campaign in an attempt to directly reach out to farmers is because we've tried on social media, we've tried it in a lot of different ways, we've gotten a lot of people some information, but um, it's just not really penetrating into the atmosphere just as good as direct contact. So we've been really pushing hard because we know that the farmers need this information. Sometimes something is so important that it's worth bothering people or offending people in some cases. And of course we respect people if they say, "Hey, please take me off the list." We absolutely respect that. But it's very, very important for us to get that information out there because people are just don't know about it. Farmers that have accountants and that kind of stuff, they say, "Well, I let my accountant handle it," and their accountant doesn't even know what these R&D tax credits are. And these are huge, huge opportunities, especially if you're the type of farmer that likes to be proactive, that likes to try new things, that likes to, you know, engage in new fertilizers, try new things, try products like our crop booster equipment, try to do things differently like cover cropping or maybe be more regenerative. Try to use more natural fertilizers to get away from chemical pesticides and fertilizers, those types of things. So all of those types of activities qualify for a special type of tax credit. Okay, this is not just deducting things off your taxes, like you would for a Schedule C. This is not just a standard deduction because those things are obviously we all do those things as business owners. We work on those, but those things are not necessarily the same thing. Okay, I want to give you kind of a tale of two cities here. I want to see if I can pull this up here. One second. Because I just want to walk you through kind of how this system works so that you understand, okay, what is Jim talking about? What is this R&D tax credit? What is the big deal with this? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here, hopefully. Okay, entire screen. Okay. Okay, so let's dive into this. So the research and development tax credit, okay, is a special part of the tax code. Okay, it's section 41 of the tax code. It was originally introduced all the way back into 1981. Okay, now this has been around for 30 years, 40 years actually now, and a lot of people didn't really know about it. Right? It's not a political issue. People, Democrats and Republicans, both like it because it really helps their constituents, right? It's been vastly expanded over the years and it became permanent in 2014. So this is a permanent part of the tax code. So this is not just some new government program or new government grant or something that's here today and gone tomorrow. It's a dollar for dollar reduction of taxes, okay? And the cool thing is you can go back up to 3 years and claim back taxes. So um, if you've qualified for this in the past couple of years, like you've done these trials, right, and you haven't taken advantage of it, you can actually go back up to 3 years and claim these. Okay, so let's ask the question because a lot of people want to know, like, why are these offered? Why is this tax credit even available? The tax credit's not just for farmers, by the way; it's for all businesses. But the idea behind it is Congress and government wants to have a stimulus that encourages investment. Okay, now when the government gives out a grant, and believe me, I used to write grants for a lot of different types of government contracts. So when a government, whether it's a city or a state or the federal government issues a grant, let's say they issue a $1 billion grant for regenerative agriculture, just as a hypothetical, right? When they issue a grant like that, then they have to put out the grant. They have to hire a bunch of people to write up the grant. Then they have to hire lawyers to go back into the grant and insert all those legalese terms that none of us understand to make it really complicated and really annoying. Then they have to beef it up and have all these different oversight things and hire committees and hire people to run it and hire people to look through the grant applications and make sure everything's correct. They require all these different things. It's a very complicated process and it's a very expensive process for the government to put out these grants because let's say you put out $1 million grant, right, that offered to a farm who wants to turn his farm into organic or regenerative. Well, the number of people that apply to that, the number of people they have to hire to manage that and look through all those applications and make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed and all that stuff. And then obviously administering the money and then tracking it. All that money is just a lot of overhead for the government. They cost them a lot of money to spend. So if they put out $1 million grant, they're probably spending $1.5 million in terms of the delivery of that $1 million. So it's not a very cost-effective way for the government to reward people that are innovative. So instead, what they do is they offer a tax credit. So they figure the guys that are already doing the work, the guys that are already interested in innovation, the guys that are already doing that, why don't we just reward them by giving some of their money back on taxes? So again, they're trying to reward innovation and growth. They want to encourage this entrepreneurship, and they want to help keep American jobs on American soil. So part of this is they want to help stimulate job growth, okay, here in the United States. Okay. So let's look at some of the benefits. They reduce your current and future years of state and federal liability. So there are state programs as well. Not every state, but you can check with yours. There's a dollar for dollar offset of state and federal income taxes. So instead of taking 20% or 30% of what it might be, you actually get 100% of this money back that you're using for these activities. Okay. It's a source of cash for small and mid-cap businesses. Again, most very large organizations already have accountants that are working with them on this, but a lot of medium-sized and small businesses don't necessarily know about this, so they're not taking advantage of this. They can be I already mentioned you can go back and look for a few years back and catch those types of activities that would qualify that you didn't apply for. And you can carry these credits forward up to 20 years. So in other words, if you invest in a large project, let's say you invest $100,000 in a very large trial project, right? And maybe you can't claim all of that in 1 year. In other words, you can't get all that money. You only get 50,000 of that maybe this year because you had a bad year, let's say, or you didn't have enough revenue to quote cover those costs. Well, you can actually roll some of that forward to be able to get that money in future tax years. So you can kind of split that up over 20 years. And of course, the idea is you can improve your cash flow with this also. So with farms specifically, you have things like climate change, you have consumer preferences changing, you have weather changing, all that stuff. So farmers are always experimenting with new things, new technologies, new ways of doing things, etc. And most people don't know, and most farmers don't know that these activities can be claimed as this research and tax credit. So let me give you a few examples of some of the qualifying activities. So if you implement and experiment with new methodologies or new doing things, so let's say you start doing a cover crop where you didn't do that before, all the costs of that cover crop is covered. The seeds, the fertilizer, if you use any irrigation you use, any labor you use in terms of planting or harvesting it, if you use products like ours, those types of things, any of those expenses is all qualifying, okay? If you wanted to try to decrease or eliminate the use of harmful pesticides and fertilizers, those types of things qualify. The discovery of smart irrigation, okay, those types of things. So if you put automated irrigation systems in your irrigation line to help conserve water, that qualifies, okay? Discovery and implementation of farm management through natural intelligence. So maybe you automate and help reduce your labor costs, okay? The automation aspect does qualify for that. If you do any kind of innovation towards increasing your output to feed needy peoples or needy families, that qualifies. If you're trying to help reduce pressure on resources and natural resources, you go to like a pulse irrigation or you do different irrigation techniques to save water. Those types of activities qualify. Overcoming supply chain issues. I mean, I'm working with a company called Terra Firma Foods who is looking to build farms in urban areas, like indoor farming in urban areas to reduce the travel time that it has to go for organic fresh produce to get to urban areas. And those types of things can be immediately delivered. So those types of things definitely qualify. Proofing against environmental threats like disease or disaster, those things, reducing energy such as diesel or electricity to run your pumps, preventing your waste, all those things qualify, okay? In terms of just business expenses, right? You should know that the business has to be doing one of these qualifying activities. So you don't just get to claim this as an R&D tax credit if you're not doing one of those types of research or trial type applications, right? You have to have at least one employee on the payroll besides yourself, okay? So that's usually not a big deal. The revenue should be around 500,000 or more. I mean, if you're running a lot less revenue than that, it may not be worth doing the extra paperwork because you're probably not going to be spending much more than a few $1,000s on any kind of R&D. So you want to have a decent size. I mean, to really make this worth your while, you want to maximize your R&D side. But even if you don't hit that 500K threshold in terms of your overall revenue, if you're investing a significant amount of money, let's say on a specific type of a trial for future investment, then those things qualify as well. And of course, they must have paid taxes for the years they want to receive the benefits. And so you really need to do about 10K a year in taxes. Otherwise, it's probably not going to be worth it to fill out all the paperwork to get this tax credit. Okay. Again, this was introduced by Chuck Grassley, and he's a senator, and he's fully on board with this. And of course, if you want to talk to one of our specialists, we're working with Chris Lake at J&C Lake Partners. She's one of our tax lawyers, and she has questionnaires, and she walks you through the process. And of course, she has experts that actually fills out the paperwork for you. So if you want to learn more about this tax credit, call our buddy Chris Lake over there. Her contact information is here. And if you don't see this live or you want to go back to this presentation, you can come back and see this also. So you can also contact us, of course, email us at service@harvestharmonics.com or give us a phone call at 324-6750, 727 area code. And of course, we can hook you up with Chris also. But that's really all I got today, guys. So if you've been getting calls and messages from me talking about the R&D tax credit, that's what it's really all about. We're just trying to give more information to farmers so that they can become more profitable. Again, we didn't get in this business just for our own sake and for our own money and our own profit. We want to really give back as much as possible to the farmers who are working so hard on all of our behalfs. We want to do everything we can do to help you. Our crop booster is an amazing, amazing product that will dramatically boost your yields and quality. And we're, of course, helping you with that. But even when we come across ideas and opportunities to help our farmers, whether they're doing business with us or not, we want to pass that information along to you. So if you have any questions, go ahead and email me or give me a call. We'll walk you through it. If you'd like more information about our crop booster, again, go ahead and email me at service@harvestharmonics.com. And let's work together to make you more profitable and make you part of the future of farming today.